What is an abstract? An abstract is a brief summary of a research paper, article, or other type of academic document. It is usually located at the beginning of the document and provides readers with a concise overview of the content of the article or document. The purpose of an abstract is to allow readers to quickly determine whether the article is relevant to their interest and to decide whether to read the full document. So usually you would see these abstracts in the databases in either Google Scholar or the databases in your online library. And so the abstract is the small summary of the study. And another kind of abstract that you see very, very, very often, that is when you read a book and it's that summary at the back of the book. That's an abstract, okay? It's a summary of the whole thing. So that's the same thing as an abstract. Usually in a book, it's the beginning of the cover, or it could be the introduction of the book. So basically, and an abstract is located before the first page of a paper, and it's located before the introduction paragraph. That's where you put the abstract. Okay, it's at the very, very beginning. It's the very first thing you see, right after the cover. Okay, your cover, well, your paper cover will say something like the name of the school, name of professor, your name and date, and that sort of thing. Title page, that is. So the abstract comes right after the title page, but right before the first page, right before the introduction. An abstract typically includes a brief statement of the research problem or question, the research methods used, the main findings or arguments, and any conclusions or recommendations. The length of an abstract can vary depending on the document type and the publisher guidelines, but it is usually around 150 to 250 words, usually about 2 paragraphs. And I remember that writing the abstract, when I wrote the abstract last, after I finished all the other parts of my experiment. Then I guess it was like 4 weeks before the due date. For I think at UCLA, the due date is like April 1st, no, June 1st. It was in June, but they needed time. Anyway, it was the last 4 weeks of the paper. It doesn't really matter. I'm really bad at numbers. But the last 4 weeks I had to work on the paper, and it was the 4 weeks before the deadline. And that was the last thing I did, was to put the abstract at the very, at the very end of the paper. So you can write your abstract last, okay? After you finish your entire research paper, you can put your abstract last, just like I did. In academic publishing, an abstract is often required for the submission of research papers, articles, and other documents. It is also commonly used in conference proceedings, dissertation, and thesis abstracts, and in databases that index academic publications. So anytime you read a scholarly source, you always see the abstract at the very beginning. There are generally 2 kinds of abstracts in APA formatting, descriptive and informative. So for English 105, when you write your argumentative essay as your essay 2, that's going to be your second assignment, you will write an abstract, then you'll write your essay, and then you're going to write your annotated bibliography of that essay. So let's get on with, what is a descriptive abstract? A descriptive abstract summarizes the purpose, scope, and methods of a research study, but does not include the results, conclusions, or recommendations. It is typically used for shorter papers or articles, and it may be a paragraph or 2 in length. A descriptive abstract might include information such as the research question or problem, the study design or methodology, the participants or sample, and the main findings or data collected. So here's an example of a descriptive abstract: the effects of music on memory recall in college students. This study examines the effect of music on memory recall in college students. A sample of 50 students was randomly assigned to either a music or a non-music group. Both groups were given a list of words to memorize and were tested for recall. The results showed no significant difference in memory recall between the music and non-music groups. The study suggests that music may not have a significant effect on memory recall in college students. in this example, the abstract provides a brief summary of the purpose, scope, and methods of the research study, but does not include the results, conclusions, or recommendations. And in case you're wondering, what is all this? Okay, so basically, when you write a science paper, and when you write a thesis, these are the parts of a science paper. So in a science paper, you write the purpose, the scope. You don't really have to know this for your English 105 because you're going to be writing an argumentative essay. So you're not going to be writing a research proposal. You're not going to be writing a business proposal. But if you're going to do any kind of proposal, the purpose, scope, and methods, the purpose and scope and background, that's where you state the problem. That's when you state what it is you want to study. Methods, results, conclusions. Methods is what did you do to conduct your experiment? Results, what were the results of that experiment? Conclusion or recommendations. So how am I going to apply these results in the real world? Example, COVID-19. The purpose of this study is to make sure the COVID-19 vaccine is effective and does not have too many side effects or harmful side effects. And then scope and methods. Sampling was taken from people of every age group, of every ethnicity, to make sure that the vaccine is tested on everyone, to make sure that the vaccine is safe to use on all members of the population. So they tested that's scope and method, and then results. COVID-19 is an effective vaccine with few side effects. Conclusion or recommendations. We recommend that it's safe for doctors to administer COVID-19 vaccines to their patients. Okay, so this is basically a whole, and you can write all of this into an abstract. So for me, I didn't write a descriptive abstract. I wrote a informative abstract in which I had to write the whole thing. For you guys just have to write a descriptive abstract in which you just summarize what your paper is about. So you don't have to worry about the results, the conclusions, and you don't have to worry about that yet until you write a science paper or for a class, or you're going to do a master's thesis later on in your college career. So you don't have to worry about it. So the abstract for you is just what did you write about for your argumentative paper. An informative abstract provides a comprehensive summary of a research study, including the purpose, scope, methods, results, conclusions, and recommendations. It is typically used for longer papers or articles, and it may be several paragraphs in length. So I had to do an informative abstract. You guys get to do the easier one, descriptive abstract. So an informative abstract might include information such as the research question or problem, the study design or methodology, the participants or sample, the main findings or data collected, the statistical analysis used, and the conclusions or implications of the research. Yeah, I hated doing statistical analysis, all those numbers. Luckily, my professor was really nice and helped me out on that. So here, example of an informative abstract. The impact of social media on mental health, a systematic review. This systematic review examines the impact of social media on mental health. A comprehensive search of electronic databases yielded 35 studies that met the inclusion criteria. The studies were analyzed using a thematic approach. The findings suggest that social media use is associated with increased levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. The review also identifies several factors that may moderate the impact of social media on mental health, including the frequency and intensity of use, the type of social media platform, the age and gender of users. The implications of these findings for mental health professionals and social media users are discussed. So in this example, in this example, the informative abstract provides a comprehensive summary of everything. And so I had to summarize every little thing that I did of all the different parts, and even though it was just 2 or 3 paragraphs, it took forever to write those paragraphs, and I had to write it several times just to get the professors to approve of it. They were so picky, every little word, every little comma, and that sort of thing. Anyway, so in both cases, whether you're doing the descriptive or the informative abstract, the abstract should be written in concise, clear language and should accurately reflect the content of the research study. It should also be formatted according to APA guidelines, including double spacing and a running head. In conclusion, abstracts serve an important role in argumentative essays by providing a brief summary of the key points of the essay. An abstract, okay, so for you, this is what you're going to do. You're going to be doing a descriptive abstract for the second half, your second assignment. Not for the first assignment, so the second half of the class. So an abstract allows readers to quickly understand the focus and main arguments of the essay, which can be especially useful when readers are deciding whether to read the full essay or when searching for relevant articles in a database. Moreover, abstracts help writers to organize their thoughts and to clearly and concisely state the purpose and significance of their argument. By using an abstract in an argumentative essay, writers can effectively communicate the essence of their essay and engage readers with their ideas. So this pretty much sums up what is an abstract. Basically, it's a summary at the beginning of your paper that summarizes what you wrote for your argument. So that's going to be the second half of your class, and I will go over this in much more detail then. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me anytime.